You already know this bit, but sometime in the 2020s, two geeks from across social media formed an alliance to bring you geek news from across the Nostalgiaverse. They are Jacob's Toys and SuperSorrell. Together, they have been bringing you the weekly live show, Geek Week in Review, every Sunday. But sometimes, something takes place during the week that requires their full attention. No schedule and no time slot, just an impromptu live stream. Welcome to Geek Week Plus, the bonus show.
Hello on this Tuesday evening. Hello, welcome to Geek Week Plus with me, Jacob's Toys, of course, the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. Hello, everyone in the chat. We'll get to your comments very shortly, and everyone watching live, do join in on the chat as we're talking, because we go out across a handful of different places, so we try our best to kind of get all the comments up on the screen and keep the conversation moving. But this is Geek Week Plus. Our regular show is on a Sunday. Just every now and again we do a plus episode because something happens, doesn't it, Sorrel? And we just think, you know, we need to talk about that right now. we can't wait till Sunday. We need to get in there and just talk about it. It's been a good one this week.
Yeah, and I think with us obviously doing themed shows a little bit on a Sunday, I think these little pop-up shows will probably be a bit more frequent as things come out and things that we want to discuss. But there were two really good trailers I think we really need to discuss.
Yeah.
Venom. I must eat, Mrs. Chen.
And of course, it's very alien themed. We had like 2 alien trailers in 2 days.
Yeah, in space, no one can hear your tinnitus in space.
I had to turn the volume down that bit of the trailer. We'll get to that. But I don't know. I just did not think that we would be in a time where we were getting a 3rd Venom film trailer and a 9th Alien or whatever it is. Like, it's crazy.
It is nuts, isn't it?
Which one do you want to talk about first?
We are Venom.
Yeah, let's talk Venom.
We've got more to discuss with Venom.
Yeah, there's lots to discuss with Venom. So, yeah, I mean, a 3rd installment of Venom. I'm not surprised. It's been a good franchise so far. Tom Hardy's absolutely nailing it. But yeah, 3rd Venom. I mean, I remember when the first one was first announced and everyone went nuts, didn't they? Like, it was like a Venom film. But yeah, this one,
it's I don't. It's one of them ones where I consider this a part of the multiverse, not necessarily the Venom that I read as a kid in the comics. The Venom I read as a kid in the comics was very different, but I like this take on it for the movie. I do like his version. I like the comical, silly Venom, but I don't consider that the 616 Venom by any means.
No. I think they hit the nail on the head there. I mean, I've always said, like, with the movies and stuff, there are so many different stories in the comic books. I just see the movies very much as kind of a continuation. Like, it's like you say, they are different versions, and obviously, you know, right from the start, this version of Venom was very different than that in the comic books. Everything from the origin stories, you know, onwards. But yeah,
I do like the comedy they bring to it with the making him a bit daft and a bit, you know, like all the stupid thing with, is there any chocolate? Ask Mrs. Chen if there's any chocolate. Stupid stuff like that makes me laugh.
Yeah, I like the relationship that they've given Eddie Brock and Venom. Like, you didn't really have that to that extent in the comic books, did you?
Yeah, and from looking at this, I think this might be their goodbye to one another. I think this is going to definitely end with the symbiote leaving him.
See, do you think? See, I thought about that. I did think, like, the way that it's called, like, you know, The Last Dance, and you know, they're making it as a kind of a final thing, and a lot of people were talking, weren't they, that saying that, you know, this was going to complete the Eddie Brock and Venom kind of story. But then there's the potential for the MCU to have a Venom, which is exciting. But I don't know. I just feel that the trailers cut a little bit to make you feel like that, you know?
With the fact that it's called The Last Dance, and there's that bit in the trailer where you can clearly hear Venom's voice, like, it's different to how he normally speaks, and he does sort of say, you know, this is the end, you know, like this is the end of their road kind of thing. And I've got a feeling that he's going to split with Eddie to keep Eddie safe. I think it's going to be like a moment where he's like, he can't let his human host get harmed for him, and that thing's coming from their planet to kill Venom. So obviously he's going to harm Eddie Brock because Eddie Brock is with Venom. So if he separates from his human host,
Okay,
he's keeping Eddie safe. So I think the Venom will continue on somewhere else in the universe, the symbiote. But I think he's leaving this version's Eddie, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think the difficult thing as well is now that Tom Hardy's done it for 3 films, he's kind of secured himself as Eddie Brock. Do you know what I mean? He is, and again, even the kind of the representation of Eddie Brock is very different to the comic books, wasn't it? Like in the comic books, he was very overly muscly, blonde hair. He wasn't as like Tom Hardy's Eddie's much nicer than the Eddie Brock in the comic book. I always read Eddie as a bit of a villain.
But there does look to be some kind of multiverse crossing over in this because we see the symbiote on the bar top.
Yes.
Which was that's when he got transferred over to the MCU, isn't it? That bit stayed behind.
Yeah. So that was at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. And we saw that crossover. And of course, it wasn't the first crossover because we did see that bit with him seeing Spider-Man on the telly in the previous film. In the previous Venom film, wasn't it? It was the Venom Let There Be Carnage. But yeah, interestingly, that scene in the bar was in the MCU because he's talking to the barman about the Avengers and stuff, isn't he? So quite clearly took place in the MCU. And a lot of people speculated that little bit of symbiote that was left was going to be what put symbiotes into the MCU. The actor as well in the scene in the trailer, he's got the long hair and he's sitting at the bar. The one that goes to touch it is the same actor that plays him in the bar. It's a barman.
Yeah.
It's the same actor, the same scenario. The only difference is that his hair's much longer. So is this the exact same one or is it a multiverse? Who knows? But if it is supposed to be the same one, it's a massive continuity error.
Well, I'm not sure if it is continuity. I was going to speculate that maybe whilst they're closing the door to Sony's Venom, Marvel might have worked with them with the MCU to work in something for the future, and that being one of the multiversal crossover points.
Okay.
Because Venom's got hive mind as well. Venom's got hive mind. Don't forget. So no matter where he is in what universe, he can read the other Venom's minds, so to speak. Because that's how he knew Tom Holland.
Yeah.
He knew he knew Spider-Man. He didn't know Tom Holland, didn't he? He knew Spider-Man because he'd fought him in Sony's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So they linked all the Venoms, didn't they?
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how to take that bit of the trailer. I don't know whether it is supposed to be the same situation or whether it's going to be different.
My other little thing was maybe because obviously it's Chitwell Ejiofor, isn't it? Who's playing him? I can never say his name properly. Chitwell Ejiofor, who we've seen in the MCU before. But I'm wondering whether he might be a part of the same thing that's going to be in Deadpool. You know, the same, what do you call them? Like, not TAVA, but something similar. And maybe they're just stopping this because they're in charge of stopping the timelines from branching, aren't they? Maybe going, so maybe going to that bar and stopping that bit of Venom is stopping a timeline from stepping out or something. Maybe they're gonna keep that going, and we see a bit of it in Venom, a bit of it in Deadpool, as they slowly work it to the MCU, and that'll be a way of tying them all together.
Possibly. Like Jenko T just said, that's the same actor that plays Baron Mordo in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So yeah, it couldn't be the MCU because obviously we've already seen that person portraying a character. The interesting thing about the soldiers though is that they've not actually specified who they are. Like you kind of watch it and assume that they're some kind of military government official or whatever, but they've not specified who they are. That is chasing after Venom and the aliens and stuff. Couple of interesting scenes though that we also see in the trailer is that we see some kind of symbiote-esque kind of prison thing where they've got the symbiotes kind of in they're not in a cage, are they? But they're kind of hovering in those
contained.
kind of. But I think my favourite bit was the bit with the policeman from the other films.
Yeah.
And have you seen what he's listed as with the closed captions on?
No.
Mm.
What does it say?
Toxin.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know whether though the trailer with the closed captions is still out there, but when the trailer first launched and the closed captions were on, he was labeled as Toxin. And obviously you see him with green eyes. So Toxin is famously kind of red, black, and green. So that would kind of hint at that. So if they're bringing Toxin into it, that would be interesting. They do risk kind of one of the biggest criticisms about the last two was that it's essentially Venom versus a version of Venom. And if they make a symbiote the big bad in this third one, then obviously it's just 3 symbiote versus symbiote films. But yeah, but I think that they're definitely exploring. Obviously, they've explored Carnage, they've explored Life Foundation. So to kind of throw Toxin in would be quite cool. I would have really liked to have seen like an anti-Venom kind of character. And I don't know how they would have worked it into the kind of the story that they've set up, but it would have been cool to have sort of seen an anti-Venom type character. But hey ho. But yeah, interesting. Good trailer though, I think. What did you think of the horse at the end?
That was cool, wasn't it? We haven't really seen him do much of the whole venomizing thing, and that's kind of like a big thing in like all the merchandising. So it's cool to see the horse like get venomized.
Yeah, I mean, in the comic books, we see venomized everything. You know what I mean? Like everything and everyone at some point is venomized. So to see a kind of venomized horse was very, very cool. I was really hoping we'd see a venomized dinosaur, but you know, never mind. That's not going to happen. They're pushing it a bit too far.
One thing as well, because like most of the entire trailer takes part with Eddie Brock wearing the same outfit for most of the trailer, and they're in the desert a lot. And then there's that random one scene where it shows them in Las Vegas and he's wearing a tuxedo. And obviously they meet up with Mrs. Chen, and Venom has a dance with her apparently. But yeah, there's something going on there, because obviously the rest of the trailer he's in the same outfit that's tattered and torn, and he's running away in the desert. Yeah. So that for some reason they come back to that bit. Yeah. I'm wondering whether that's like the opening of the movie, maybe before everything kicks off, and that's kind of like the funny beginnings.
Possibly. Either that, or they've only shown us a small clip of the film and just spliced it in a way that makes it look like they're showing us a lot more. Yeah. Because as you say, we have only seen him in one costume throughout that trailer.
And Rhys Ifans as well is in the trailer.
Is he?
Yeah, he's the guy with the beard in the back of the van.
Oh yes, yeah. It's like he's not band, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's not playing Kurt Connors in this. But it's definitely Rhys Ifans. It's like that's weird.
Yeah, or is he playing Kurt Connors? That'd be cool.
I don't know. That would be very cool. It's a Spider-Man villain. They could get away with it. But yeah, it's one of them ones where it's like that's very weird. Yeah,
it gave me a little bit more than what I thought it was going to give me. I thought it was going to be very much like a scene. If that makes sense, like one of those kind of trailers where you see a scene, like the bit in the garage where he kills all of the criminals and eats all their heads and stuff. I thought it was going to be like we'd kind of see that and then a couple of little snippets, but they kind of laced out a storyline. So
100%. Yeah. But yeah, they are sort of as a last sort of thought on it from me, they are definitely teasing some form of death at the end of this, I think, or a sacrifice. And I think it's going to be Venom sacrificing himself for Eddie. I think Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock will live on because there's no way they're going to kill him off. So I think that this could be a way of rounding it all out with Venom sort of going out as a hero to save his host because he's become friends with Eddie. He wouldn't want to let Eddie die. So I think there's definitely going to be a sacrifice on Venom's part, basically.
It would be quite cool if the symbiote in itself, like the whole symbiote transferred to like the MCU or something.
Yeah, I definitely think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know how they'll do it without it being really cheesy, unless there is some kind of multiverse or hole in it somewhere. Because obviously he was pulled over to the MCU because of what happened with Spider-Man.
Hmm.
So I don't know how he would get back, but I would like. I don't
Again,
want
it would.
to just end with this.
Yeah. I think there's going to be him because, like, with because they set it up that he's got a hive mind and there's other versions of him that he can sense and feel and hear and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling there'll be a moment where he dies. This version of the symbiote dies to save Eddie Brock, and they'll have like a touching moment where it's like, remember, I know all the Venoms in all the universes. I'm not the only one, kind of thing. And then the end credit scene will be showing us the Venom in the new MCU. Like continuation of it, because like I say, it's that hive mind thing. So his version of it might die, but others will live on, kind of thing. I think he'll kind of say that in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
Just because I am gone, there's other Venoms in the universe. You know what I mean? That kind of a cheesy poo moment, and then that's an easy transition then, without having to transfer him anywhere, but using the hive mind thing of like another Venom. You know, we just cut to another Venom in another universe, like the symbiote finding its host.
Yeah.
And they could play on that whole, if they're going to, because obviously it's going to be Eddie Brock again, more than likely, because it's Eddie's Venom. So maybe because of the hive mind thing, the symbiote in the MCU is like Eddie, like, and he looks for Eddie Brock. That's how he knows to attach to Eddie Brock. Maybe
that
they could use that, and then it's like a version of me in another universe attached itself to an Eddie Brock. You know what I mean? So I always find my Eddie.
Yeah,
almost kind of some.
That would work. I really have no kind of preconceived thoughts in how I want it to go. I'm kind of just loving the roller coaster that we're on. I did not think we would get a third Venom film, a third standalone Venom film. I really thought that Venom we got in Spider-Man 3 was it. That was going to be our live action Venom. But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Merchandise for this film, there isn't really anything there, considering this film comes out in October. We've not really seen any kind of merchandise or any hints at any merchandise that give anything away.
We've not really seen much for Deadpool either, though, other than a few Funkos, but they're not even the movie Funkos we've seen yet. They're just Deadpool Funkos.
Yeah, that's true.
There's plenty of Venom stuff out there at Smith's. I just think we'll get the movie stuff later down the line. Obviously, Funko will get an assault of stuff. I think as soon as the Sony projects are out, like Deadpool's launched, Venom's launched, we'll start seeing a lot more Funko stuff get put out. And
action figure wise as well, there's obviously your Sideshow, your Hot Toys, you've got your Venom, you've got your Carnage. I think there's been 2 versions of Venom based on the films, and then obviously a version of Carnage, but they are huge. And the only other toy line that does any of the movie stuff is obviously Marvel Legends, and they've given us a Venom and recently just announced a Carnage. So, Venom 3 comes out and we get a figure from Venom 2. So, so no merchandise out there at all to give anything away.
No, I would say watch this space for SH Figure Arts. They're usually, because obviously they don't have the same licensing issues that some companies have with them being over in Asia. So I reckon we'll see something out of Bandai.
Cool. Hope so. Just quickly before we move on.
There's no way that they did that horse thing in the trailer and every toy company is not now going, we need a Venomized horse. There's no way that not. Like I can imagine Dwight and that from Legends team seeing that and be like, we need a horse.
I must admit, in a lot of the customizing groups on like Facebook and Reddit and stuff like that, there are so many people posting pictures of horses going, okay, I'm starting saying, here we go. And I've got that Witcher horse, which
I'm about to say the Witcher horse is going to sell out everywhere.
I'm like, I've literally got 2 of them. I painted one of them white, and then I've got another one still as it is. And I'm like, that'd be a very easy switch. But hey ho.
The easiest one would be the Headless the Headless Horseman one that I've got, because it's already black with red eyes and everything, with black hooves and everything. It's already done. You just need to put the white on it.
Oh, it's an expensive custom though.
That is an expensive custom.
The Witcher horse was like 15 quid. Before we move on though, one last thing: that great big kind of symbiote alien. Do you think that's come to Earth, or do you think that was already on Earth?
I think that's coming to Earth to get Venom. When he says about the whole his people are coming or whatever, something's
Yeah.
coming. There's that thing, isn't there, in the comic books about there's the one that likes to eat the hive, the likes to eat the host minds, and it's like a symbiote eating monster. I wonder if it's going to be like the version of that, basically.
That was my thoughts. Yeah, that was
And
my thoughts.
and then it'll force Toxin or whoever and Venom to work together to kill the big bad kind of thing. They'll fight each other for a bit, but we've already seen symbiote versus symbiote, so it would make sense that they team up this time to fight the big bad.
That's where I was going to go. I'd really like to see a sort of symbiote tag team.
I reckon they'll do something very cheesy poo to make Monster Venom in this one as well, because it's their last chance.
Yeah.
They'll do something like,
If we team together, Toxin, we can become the Monster Venom.
Yeah,
there will be something cheesy poo, like they'll combine, it'll be a black and green, big, hulking looking thing.
That would be very cool.
Where is the Hulk when we need him?
Cool. So on to the other trailer then. The other trailer, Alien.
In space, no one can hear your titness.
What is that? What is the name of this film? Because I keep calling it
Romulus.
Romulus.
It's Romulus. Yeah.
Romulus. I keep calling it Rhombus, and I'm like, no. What does that word even mean? I've not really done my research on
I
this.
have no idea.
Do we know what it actually means?
Let's Google Romulus. What does that word mean? Romulus was the legendary founder of and first king of Rome. Various traditions attribute the establishment of many of Rome's oldest legal and political parties. So, Romulus was a leader, a Roman leader.
Name of the ship that they're living on, I reckon, then.
Oh, yeah, Romulus and Remus were two brothers. They were the two brothers.
So do you reckon that's the ship that we see them?
Yeah, Romulus will be the ship, won't it?
Cool. I'm just going to say this trailer had me. Like, apart from the high-pitched noise at the end, this trailer was everything I hoped it would be.
Yeah, they've gone back to the roots, haven't they, with this one? They've gone back to making this a scary-looking alien movie. It's not like a cheesy poo action film, this one.
No. This... as I was watching the trailer, I thought, you know what? This is what the first Alien was to me when I was a kid. You know what I mean? When you couldn't really see the faults in a film because you were just watching it for what it was. And I was looking at it going, you know what? This is how I remember watching the original Alien film, like just being big and dark and exciting, all that kind of stuff. The bit that got me was the boop, boop, boop.
Yeah.
That to me, as soon as I hear it, it just takes me to Alien. Do you know what I mean? Like straight away. Such a good kind of like auditory anchor for kind of long-term viewers. Jenko T quickly has just said, I feel very much like this Alien is almost like a soft reboot without them coming out and saying it's a reboot. Yeah, I think you're not wrong. I don't think you're wrong.
This film is set between the first two movies. It's in between them, so it's after Alien 1, but before Aliens. So this could be a nice gateway back into the world of the original Ridley Scott timeline and then just pretending the rest of the timeline doesn't exist. And just keep going in this universe, and then eventually the idea is that they can end this franchise with Aliens being the final movie kind of thing.
That'd be a cool way. The only bit I'm concerned about is that I must admit every Alien trailer I've seen, I felt this way. Even like the Alien versus Predator trailers, I was kind of like, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be cool. I think the only difference with this is that it's got the credibility of the film writers, the directors and stuff from other projects. We kind of know what to expect.
The guys that are doing this are also horror writers. They made horror movies.
Yeah.
So this is going to me. It's not a bunch of like before. It was a bunch of sci-fi writers. It was guys that had made Star Wars, Star Trek. You know what I mean? It's people that had filmed action movies. These are people that have made like serious horror movies.
Yeah.
That are like psychological. So it's a good bunch of minds behind it.
And you know what? Like the whole tagline, in space, no one can hear you scream.
Yeah.
It's a real horror tagline.
Mm-hmm.
It was used on a sci-fi film, and that's it. It never really. I never thought it was like a scary sounding tagline until I saw it in this trailer. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like beforehand,
Yeah.
it was kind of like it was like a cheesy kind of, you know, in space, no one can hear you scream. Whereas now it was like, and I love the fact that they didn't put the word scream up. They just showed her screaming, but you couldn't hear it. I thought that
Yeah.
was really, really clever. But yeah, there was just some bits in it that were just really gritty, like the chest buster, where she shines the light on her back and you can see it in her chest. That got me.
You could hear them cracking the ribs trying to get out as well.
The face hugger where you see it trying to go down his throat or her throat, or whichever character it was. Like that bit got, because I must admit, when I first found out about face huggers and how they kind of stick this thing down your throat and lay the alien inside you, I thought, man, that is gross. That's like really, but you never really saw it, did you? You never really in them earlier films. Whereas this really shows you the kind of the invasion.
Yeah, it shows Alien trying to attach, and you see the little bit trying to get him, and
wobbling around. Oh,
Yeah.
it made me feel very uneasy. Very uneasy.
But it was they had a lot of like Ripley moments in this. They are definitely trying to place her as the new Ripley, and they even had that scene with the xenomorph coming towards her, and with her turning away, and they did that exact scene for scene, more or less.
Yeah. How is this gonna work out? So if this takes place after Alien, how have we got aliens on this ship? Like, what's the
no idea? If we start asking questions, it all falls apart.
Yeah. My only kind of assumption with this was that it's going to go down very much the same route that the first Alien film went down, and that they land somewhere, because the characters at the beginning are talking, aren't they, about like, you know, do you want to spend the rest of your life on this place and stuff. So I'm assuming they probably go down to a planet or something like that and pick something up. That's the same as we did in the first Alien film. And that's why there's only one of them on the ship, or maybe there's not only one of them, maybe there's lots of them, who knows. But yeah, I think it's going to be a similar plot to what we had in that first one.
100%. I'm not really up on the Alien timeline by any means. It's not one of my like big franchises that I'm into. But this, like I say, for me, this just definitely looked like a return to form for Alien, because the last couple have been quite diabolical. But this one looked quite good. I'm looking forward to this one.
You know who really was into their Alien films? Mr. Ryan.
In his Noia,
Ryan, like to the extent where he read all the books in between, like he could tell you what character slept with what character's great aunt in the, you know what I mean? It was he's insanely detailed like that. But I think you're right. I think with any kind of franchise, when you branch out too much and you try to reinvent the wheel too many times, you end up with this omelette of kind of storylines and, you know, continuity errors and all this kind of stuff. So knowing that they've kind of gone back to the beginning without going back to the beginning, I think is a really good move. And I think, like what Jenko T said earlier about it being a soft reboot, if they are putting this at the same timeline as the Ripley films, but in a different location, it gives us an opportunity to have a new Alien franchise without kind of ignoring what's already happened.
Yeah. So this film, according to the thing, is set, Alien Romulus is set 20 years after the franchise's first installment. So it's taking place 20 years after Ripley. Like fought the alien. So these aliens are out there now, because obviously we see them break out and stuff in the first movie. So technically they are in space and doing stuff. So
yeah.
I don't think they really need to explain too much on that. Of just aliens are just there, aren't they?
They're there, and if you cross paths with them, then you know you're done. You're done for. But it did look like in one part of the trailer that there was multiple eggs with face huggers coming out. That was the only bit that I kind of picked up on, where we might get more than one, because you see the face hugger kind of fall out, but it looks like there's a few.
Yeah.
So
it takes place decades before. It's decades before Aliens. So it's not like Aliens is coming up anytime soon in the timeline. It's set 20 years after the original movie, but it's set at least 3 or 4 decades before Aliens.
Yeah. Well, that was the big
So-
kind of jaw-dropping moment, wasn't it, in Aliens, when you find out that she'd been in hypersleep or whatever it is for so long, and it was supposed to be like a massive jump into the future. So we have got a lot of time to play with before we've kind of caught up to that film.
Yeah.
And Alien and Aliens are clearly the better of the films.
Yeah, it's taking place in 2142 apparently. This film.
Okay. Specific.
Someone on the internet has basically sat and worked it out. Basically,
What I really like about films like this as well is that obviously when Alien came out, it was trying to look a little bit futuristic, whereas now that we've kind of gone forward a little bit in time and we realise that we're not all kind of flying around in cars and teleporting between places and stuff, you get these films now like this one that are based in the future but don't look that much more advanced than what we are.
It's like they've got analog stuff kicking about, in the trailer, haven't they?
Yeah, so it's kind of like it makes it feel quite realistic, whereas back in the kind of late 80s, early 90s, you'd watch a film like this and be like, whoa, that's so sci-fi, that's so like whereas now it's kind of like, okay, that does look a little bit dystopian, a little bit kind of gritty. I noticed that they've got similar weaponry as well as the first film, so they're obviously not going to be at any more of an advantage, which I think makes it quite interesting in regards to where the film's actually going to go.
Yeah, I think this film's going to take a lot of stuff from the Alien Isolation game that came out a few years back on Xbox. I think it's going to basically take a lot from that, and because like in that game you have like the scanner where you can see where the xenomorph is, but it's only like a dot and it goes like boop, boop, boop. So I reckon you're going to get one of them kind of things, and because it looks like she's running away from it more than anything. It's not like she's trying to fight it.
No.
In that trailer, she's running away from it, so it's very much going to be like hiding in the vents again and all that kind of stuff, which I like. That's a good way of doing it.
Yeah, and that's what I always thought with the first Alien film, and even Aliens as well to an extent, is that the xenomorphs are very like animalistic, aren't they? They're they're not going to walk along the corridor trying handles. They're going to be crawling through vents and looking for places to hide and sneak up and stuff. And that's what I thought made these films really quite good, like quite scary and sci-fi like. So yeah, I'm hoping, but I wouldn't even be mad if everyone dies at the end of this film. Like if the alien just does kill them all. Like you don't have to have any survivor. You don't have to be building a franchise. Like let it just kill everyone off. You know what? Give us a new Alien film every couple of years called something different, named on the ship that the alien's on, and it's just kind of like this one is this particular ship, the next one is another ship, and you just sort of see how all of these different collectives of people deal with an alien on board. So do you think there's going to be anything surprising about this? Do you think they're going to try to rewrite anything, or do you think it's going to stick to the source and just be
No, I don't think they're going to mess with it. Like everyone's sort of saying, I think it is a soft reboot without them saying it. They can kind of they were everyone loves Alien and Aliens, and then the other movies kind of have like their niche audience that kind of like certain ones. But let's be honest, it was downhill after Aliens. The rest of the films were terrible.
Yeah, Alien 3 I could watch if I had to. Like Alien 3 I kind of count as a trilogy. Anything past Alien 3, just when Ripley started having clone babies and the Queen was kind of having Tupperware parties and stuff like that, it just ruined it for me.
But I mean, if they wanted to, they have an opportunity going back where they could do something in the past, which then causes something in the future. Like for those that are really into the timeline, there might be some Easter eggs that sort of say, actually, this is its own thing now because they've done this, which means Ripley never wakes up from cryosleep in Aliens. You know what I mean? There's so many little opportunities that they've got where they could rewrite the timeline.
Yeah. I think the thing that I'm most excited about, though, is that it feels like this is very much a film I could sit down with my eldest son and kind of introduce him to Alien properly with. You know what I mean? Like, trying to show him the original one, it just looks a little bit dated now.
Yeah.
And kind
This
of
does look like like you say, a modern, almost like a modern retelling of the first film, isn't it?
yeah.
Although, as my dad said after watching the trailer, as my dad said, there's a lot of unnecessary swearing in that trailer.
Oh, was there? I didn't even
They
notice.
do seem to drop the F-bomb left, right, and centre, which I understand. There's a xenomorph chasing you. You're going to throw a few expletives in there. But yeah, I didn't notice it, but my dad's like, there's a bit of unnecessary swearing in there. And I just went back and watched it again. I'm like, yeah, there is.
In space, no one can hear you scream, but you can swear as much as you want. It's like, in space, no one can hear you scream, but SuperSorrell's dad can hear you swear. Yeah, I didn't even notice. It's funny that, isn't it? I did not even notice. Yeah. But yeah, I've always liked this. Like even when I was a kid, I was kind of like, you know what? If there is intelligent life out there, I see it very much as this kind of like xenomorph kind of thing. So yes, there's a level of intelligence, but it's not little green men in UFOs coming and abducting us. It's kind of, if you go somewhere, there is a life form that will destroy you because it's, you know.
People instantly, when you say aliens, start thinking of people wearing tinfoil hats and little green men in round ships.
Yeah.
And that's not what alien means. Alien just means a life form that is not from Earth.
Yeah.
That could mean that it could be some form of space pony for all we know, some form of space unicorn pony thing.
Yeah, well,
It's got,
stick a horn on
I
a
mean?
xenomorph, and it's a space unicorn.
It could be literally anything, you know what I mean? It's like any form of life for anything that's technically life, or bacteria which is technically life that is not from Earth is an alien. And there is no way in this vast galaxy that we're alone in that respect when you think of it that way.
No, not
Can't
in
be
a million
naive
years.
enough to think that.
Not in a million years. I must admit, though, with these two trailers, I did think that you talk about space ponies, that venomized horse at the end of Venom looked very xenomorphy. I was kind of like, it's ironic that you've got this horse and then the Alien trailer the next day. But yeah, but no, I'm very. Did you know when Alien comes out? Do you know what the date was for that one? Because I know Venom is October.
Alien Romulus will release on the 16th of August.
Oh, okay. So we've got Alien before Venom.
Yeah, both 20th Century Fox movies as well.
Yeah, potential crossover. Imagine Venom shows up at the end of Alien. But yeah, no, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. You know what it made me feel as well is that I really want. Do you know how like Prey kind of gave Predator a soft reboot, in a different, and it made it very gritty and very just a different genre of film altogether. I'm really hoping that this is doing this for Alien, and so therefore we've got kind of Alien and Predator both kind of refreshed and new. It's my hope.
Yeah, there is another Predator movie in the works, isn't there, at the moment?
Yeah,
they are working on a sequel or a continuation of that timeline.
Yeah, so
I'm excited to see where they go next for that.
As long as the two never cross.
Oh no, I would love to see them attempt it again.
Do it properly.
Yeah. Well, everyone always says that, do it properly. It's like we'll get another version of it.
I just don't know how you would make that.
It's like Freddy versus Jason, isn't it? No, you're never going to get it 100% right. You just can't. There's too many red tapes to cross and studio executives involved, and you've got to imagine when they get two big titans like that on the screen, there's going to be a lot of they both need to have equal time on screen. We can't have the Predators killing all the aliens because it makes the aliens look weak for future movies. We're going to make sure they kill equal amounts of each other. We're going to make sure none of them look weak against the other. It just gets silly because nobody wants to ruin the franchise for future films by making one look stronger than the other. That's why no one ever wins in those movies. Why it makes them pointless. But I remember the comic books as a kid, and the comic books were great.
Yeah.
So there is a way of doing it. They've just never done it right.
Or just do like an Alien versus ET, which is just an obvious like slaughter fest. just have a whole film of ET hiding from a xenomorph. But no, I'm excited. Like I said, starting this week, I never thought that I'd be lucky enough to kind of be in a position where we were getting a third Venom film and a new sort of soft reboot to the Alien franchise. Well, that's very cool indeed.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm really excited for it all, and I can't wait. It's gonna be fun. Two very very similar sort of looking bad guys there, wasn't there, with Venom and Xenomorph being released on the same day.
Yep.
And as soon as you said about them being similar, instantly in my head I just saw Venom walking up to Xenomorph and be like, brother.
Hey, it's my cousin. But cool. All right, well, it's just a short one tonight. We were just going to throw our thoughts out. Anything else you want to say about either of the films?
No, but I was going to ask you one thing. Have you been watching Doctor Who?
I stupidly looked at the reviews and they weren't overly favourable. So I was kind of like,
mate, no, the reviews are rubbish. Don't look at the reviews. The actual series has been mental so far. There've been a lot of horror elements to it, and a lot of it's been very weird and creepy.
Right.
The last episode, right, was it was a proper thinker one, which I love, and all the way through, it's like these teenagers that are on a planet, I say teenage, like 20-odd-year-olds on a planet that are like obsessed with social media, and it's all around them at all times, and they can't see outside of the bubble, which is great. That's a great, like, it's almost like a what's that other thing, that Black Mirror? It's very similar to that. And you didn't notice they're all white, right? And this was the writer's way of saying, did you realize that there was not a single black person in there except the Doctor? And at the end of the thing, when the Doctor says, look, come with me, I can save you, they're like, no. Why would we come with you? That your TARDIS is like voodoo. And they basically wouldn't go with him because they were racist. And it's like, so it's like, it was a very hard hitting moment for Doctor Who, that very different to what we've had before. But you didn't click onto the fact that the entire cast was white. It never clicked in my mind at all. And that was the whole point. They were sort of saying that cinema and Hollywood is still so backwards, that you didn't even realize there wasn't a single person of color in it other than the Doctor.
Wow. I must say, I really enjoyed the first episode with the goblins, and then I just kind of missed the launch of it. If that makes sense.
There's been some really cool villains this time round, and with the building up to something big with this current companion, they're building up to something quite big on this one.
Yeah.
So it's worth catching up.
The finale is going to be in the cinema, isn't it?
Yeah. And we keep seeing the same woman over and over and over again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Susan Twist, she's called. She's an extra at BBC. And every time people ask the writers about it on social media, they're just like, nah, it's just Susan Twist. We just like having her around. She's a really fun person to have, and we just like to use her as an extra in all the episodes. It's like,
is she the one that at the end of the thing spoke to the camera?
No, that's Mrs. Flood. She's somewhat different. We haven't found out about her yet, but there's something going on, because every time this companion thinks about her mother and the past, it snows, and like in reality, like snow just appears around her.
Okay.
And we met a villain called the Maestro, who's the master of music, and like the Maestro tried to kill her, and basically was like, "No, you have a deep song in your soul. There's something about you." And like I say, they keep using this Susan Twist, who's an actress, and then they did a song in the Beatles episode, and it literally the song lyrics were, "There's always a twist, there's always a twist in the end."
Wow!
It's like they're leading to something big.
I will binge watch it, and we will do a Geek Week themed episode on Doctor Who.
A Doctor Who week.
Yeah, we'll do a Doctor Who week, because I do enjoy it. It's just one of the things that there's so much stuff out there.
I love Doctor Who.
I never got around to starting it. Like I said, I watched the first episode and I was like, yeah, this is cool. I'm going to give this kind of this new, because obviously it went over to Disney and stuff, didn't it? So it was like
it's got Disney. It's got the big money behind it now. So there's a lot more special effects in this series than we've had before, and there's a lot bigger budget.
Yeah, so I'll get on it. Where's it available?
BBC iPlayer is the usual. You can get it on Disney Plus, but yeah, BBC iPlayer.
Fine, I'll get on it. And we'll do a Geek.
It's only like 6 episodes or something. They're only about half an hour long each.
Yeah, I might even just start watching it tonight. Who knows? Who knows? The night is young. So obviously we're going to be back on Sunday with the actual main theme show, Geek Week, 9:30 on UK time. What did we say our theme was going to be?
Oh, I knew you were going to throw that to me. We did agree on it, and it was the one that you suggested. Toys that deserve a TV show.
Ah, there we go. Yeah, so toy lines that we think deserve a TV show. So let's just speculate the kind of the things. These can be toys that have had cartoons or comic books or something like that. But when we say TV show, I'm thinking like Netflix special, Disney Plus, like that kind of stuff. So yeah, so we'll do like a top 5 or a top 10 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right then. Thank you very much everyone for joining in. This was our little 5-minute wonder show. Just talk about Venom and Alien. Let us know if you are watching us on catch up, if you're watching us on repeat. What is it that you need to put in the comments, Mr. Sorrell?
Hashtag catch up crew.
In the Venom voice. So yeah, hashtag catch up crew. Let us know what your thoughts are on both of these films. If you've got any thoughts, if there's any really good kind of theories or anything like that, we might bring it back up on one of the mainline shows. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you're thinking. And until then, obviously, we'll be back on Sunday. Anything you want to throw in before we round off?
We must eat Mrs. Chan.
Till Sunday. Keep it geek.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and of course subscribe. Tune in next week for another live show. Until then, keep it geek. www.geekweekinreview.co.uk